Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our very first book club. We are starting our brand new book. So this one is available in PDF, but I have my hard copy. How about you guys? So we are starting. Oh, there's the books. Love it. Lindsay, do you have your book? Should we do a picture too? We always start out. Lindsay's our picture taker.
I have the PDF, of course,
You
because
have the PDF.
I roll.
That's how you roll.
Let me put up my PDF and then I'll do it. Sorry, I still am dealing with flash sales.
Yes, I know. I did not know flash sales were today.
How do I? There we go.
That's what makes them flashy.
That's right.
I'm gonna get a good page on the PDF. Okay. Ready, sweeties. Okay.
Alrighty, thank you, picture taker. So we are starting Be a Network Marketing Superstar. So we have read a few of her books in our previous book club, so I'm super excited about this one. I just wanted to start a little bit. September, I want to know, is September for you guys kind of when you start off? For me, it's a fresh beginning, right? The kids are back at school. It's kind of my beginning of the year, not really the beginning of the year, but it's where I like to refocus, kind of get back into things, recharge. So I'm super excited about this book because I think it's going to help us do just that, get back on track if we need, and it's going to help us dig deep. So that's kind of what I liked about the beginning. Now, I did highlight a few things in the forward, so I'm just going to quickly go through there. So that's where I'm started, is in the forward. So I've broken my book rule. I've highlighted like crazy and wrote in them. Normally, I don't even like to break the spine of my book, but that's the best part of book club, right? Alrighty, so I liked how she started off, right? It's not how she envisioned her life in the direct sales business. I don't think many of us thought, as we're growing up, I'm going to be a Tupperware lady. I didn't, for instance, so it is a great, it's the truth, right? So she had attended her first direct selling party. The consultant asked me if she wanted to be a consultant many times, and she told her no several times, right? So it always reminds me of Cora and how many times she was asked. We often don't say no that very first time. So what I wanted you guys to do was just remember that. Not everybody says yes that very first time, so don't hesitate. Go back and reach out to those people that you've asked 1 or 2 times, maybe even 3 or 4 times, right? Because we don't know what circumstances change. For example, she said it was the holiday season and she decided that she wanted to earn a little extra money, and the rest is history, right? So we are coming into our holiday season, October record breaker. Everything's going to get really busy. People are excited and shopping for Christmas. They're going to want to be making some extra money. So who can you reach out to at this time, right? And who knows, they may say yes this time. Down at the bottom too, I highlighted what she liked. She's sharing this because it shows what direct sales can do for you. So when I read that, I took a moment to kind of pause and reflect and remind myself of what Tupperware has done for me. So it's something that I encourage you to do as well too. And especially, I'm thinking Samantha in my downline too. So it's been fun Sam's got to go back home and spend her summer doing what she wants to do. So it's really, really cool to remember what Tupperware has done for you. So I encourage you to, stop and think of what Tupperware has done for you as you're gearing up to think about different goals and such, right? So for myself, I've been a stay-at-home mom for 20 years, so I love that Tupperware has done that for me. Oh, no, it's a different Sam. Thank you for updating your last name. That's helpful. So yes, Tupperware has done a lot for me. Does anybody want to share what Tupperware has done for themselves? I was thinking of you as well too, Pam. I love your story. Did you want to share? Are you going to unmute?
Yeah, I can unmute. So Tupperware, well, okay, so I'm totally adjusting to something really new. I was lucky enough in January to be able to quit my full-time job and stay home. Yeah, so that now my youngest just started school, and I'm over here like, what am I supposed to do with myself now? I was really looking forward to having the opportunity to spend time at home with the kids because I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and that wasn't my reality. I went through a divorce, and then I had to work to make sure that there was money coming in. So now I'm looking forward to actually having some me time and being able to take care of me as a priority when it's always been the kids, and to work my business. So I'm really looking forward to growing my business and helping other women locally and honestly nationally. I was looking at our team numbers last week and realized that we are halfway across Canada. We are not all the way across Canada, but we're halfway. So one of my goals is to actually touch as many women as I can across Canada and offer them the same opportunity. So I'm looking forward to exploding.
Awesome. Love that. Well, and it'll be a different adjustment for you not having everybody at home. So have fun with
Major.
that. Yeah, it takes some time, but yay, exciting. That's awesome. Up on the top of the next page, it has X's, sorry. The part that I highlighted here too is that she says they all started where you are right now, dreaming of making it big. Mary made it big, you can too. And that's exactly true. And that's so often I say to my team, if I can do it, you can do it. We all start off in the exact same spot. It reminds me too of the very first time Jan joined us on book club. And I loved what she said. You made me nervous, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yep.
And now you know I'm just a real person.
Yes, and I loved what you said as well too. You said we all put our pants on the very same way, so that stuck with me too, right? So yes, you would have started off in the exact same spot that I did, so it's really, really cool. Oh, and the other part down on the bottom that I highlighted as well too is helping you build an accountability you need to have for yourself and your business, right? So we do need to be accountable for what we put into our businesses or what we put into our teams too. So that really kind of stood out to me. But let's move into the introduction. But yes, I just wanted to highlight those few things. Alrighty, so this, what I like about this book as well too is the chapters are really easy, right? They're not long. So let's jump right in. So right away at the start is there is no reserved sign on wealth, right? Anyone who wants it and is prepared to work for it can have it. And nor is there any rule that demands that you have to choose between financial freedom and family life, right? So so many people are choosing to spend, less time in the traditional workforce, right? And that is what I find so super exciting with our direct sales businesses, right? Wealth isn't always measured in dollar terms, but also quality of life. Dreams really can come true, and we don't have to be tied to that 9-to-5 job. So that is really, really exciting for me, right? As I said, being a stay-at-home mom, it's really awesome that we get to choose what we do or when we work. So that's something that really stood out for me on this first page. Anyone can dream, anyone can realize those dreams, whatever his or her current skills, experiences, and circumstances. So Tupperware for myself has allowed me to dream, right? I don't think growing up wasn't always fun, so Tupperware reminded me that we can always dream and we can always continue to dream. So did anything stand out for you guys on page 1 that you wanted to chat about? I thought of you too, Pam, when she talks about, she was supporting her 2 young children, a mortgage, right? So it's really, really powerful what Tupperware can do and how it can make a difference. And that's the exciting part as leaders, as you mentioned, Pam, how we can help other women reach their potential as well too. On the next page,
But the very first sentence anyone who wants it and is prepared to work for it. I think that statement says a lot.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, and yeah, there's nothing really to add. Anybody that does want this goal, right, you need to work for it and want to work for it. And any goal big enough is worth the work and the effort for sure. So yes, I really, really liked that. As well.
Something else is just to not take it for granted. You know, I mean, I've been in Tupperware 12 years, and I was thinking the other day, because like you, Pam, my youngest went to kindergarten full day, and so I was like, everybody's on the bus at 7, and I walk home, and I'm like, okay, it's just me and the dog, like, this is cool, like, and weird at the same time. You know, and it's just like, and so the first day that happened, and my schedule was weird, but now this week is my first real week that I don't have other things going on. And I coach my team on Mondays. And so I was going through my coaching calls, and I'm doing all this connecting, and I just realized, like, I'm like, gosh, you know, I need to not take this for granted, because you know, I'm like literally living the direct sales dream. And like a lot of people who start in direct sales, this is what they dream of doing. They dream of having their own schedule, of doing it on their own terms, of having time for self-care, you know, of being able to do all those things. And I think it's important to stay in touch with that and realize that, because, you know, when I was in direct sales before Tupperware, and I had heard of Jan McDonough before I actually met Jan McDonough, because she was associated with this direct selling women's alliance. And so when I joined Tupperware and Pam said she was friends with Jan McDonough, I was like, oh my gosh, like she's really big. Like I was like so excited. And I remember like in those days when I was dreaming of having a business like this, it was like, I would think that, and I thought I'd have to be somebody really unique and somebody really extraordinary to be able to achieve those things, because the people I was seeing that were achieving it, I didn't think I was anything like them. And so, you know, it's kind of amazing to see, you know, look at all of us sitting here, all different and from different backgrounds, from different parts of, you know, the North America, and, you know, we're making that happen, and it's significant. And so, you know, and I love that she kind of addresses that in the book.
I love it. Yes, thank you for sharing, Ellen. That's exactly the truth. And I actually just had this quick little conversation on the step before book club. It is just so powerful that we're all so very different, and we all can do this. So in our own ways, right? We just have to do the work. Love that, love that, love that. Alrighty. What else do I have highlighted? Page 2. So they talk about many of us are seeking an alternative to the traditional pattern of studying, working. Less of us are willing to sacrifice the time with our family, friends, right? And self-reliance is the best security in life, right? I've had the discussion with my kids as they're getting older, right? That, you know, they've got to put into life and rely on their hard work and their stuff as well too. So I love this too. Women's attitudes are changing just as fast, right? So it is really, really special that we can do this and have the financial independence, right? For me, my real pivotal moment in my career as a stay-at-home mom of 20 years, getting to tell the kids that I'd earned that Disney trip for the very first time was so super powerful for me. Yeah, it was such a moment, right? And one that I never envisioned that, you know, somebody quiet, shy in a very small community would be able to reach those types of goals, right? You always saw them or heard about people succeeding in these businesses. I would read about it in the magazines, but didn't actually. Well, I knew Lindsay. I'd met Lindsay, but that was about it. Down about halfway to.
Okay, so sorry. I was just going to say, I know this is maybe a silly thing, but I kind of took issue with her wording in that paragraph. And it was, I'm not a mom, as most of you know, so I don't have kids. And so when she says women's attitudes are chasing fast, and then she said, although being a loving, involved parent is still a top priority for many women, few are prepared to gamble, which I think that part's true. But I really didn't like how she said, although being a loved, involved parent is like the opposite of, like, you can't be that. if you also do this, and it's so not true. And I think you could insert whatever there, being a loving aunt, being a loving sister, like doesn't matter what it is. And something that Cora often says, we have this saying that somebody kind of said in Record Breaker a long time ago, no sex, no supper, just tupper, tupper, tupper. Yes, have you guys have heard that before?
Oh, yeah.
But we like to say in Top of the Line, more sex, more supper, more tupper, 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 because we are efficient. We save a lot of time and money, and we can do it all. When, so that paragraph, just reading, I know that's not how she meant it in that sentence, but that's how it landed on me. And I thought, you know what? I think it's just important to point out that it isn't one or the other. Like, you can absolutely, that's why we're doing this, is so that we can be a more loving, insert whatever you want with your life there, sister, mom, aunt, whatever it have you be, right?
Mhm.
So
I'm
anyway.
glad I'm not the only one that felt that way.
Yeah,
Because like when I read it, I thought, well, wait a second. Making my family more financially secure and being allowed to be there for them when they need me there doesn't make me a loving parent. I mean, that's the whole premise of being a loving parent, is providing for them on my terms. So I don't know. I was like, what? Wait a second.
So you may have heard
They're not standalone. They are one and the same. So I don't know.
You may have heard the term "make your family the reason, not the excuse."
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that we pretty much have to bring up consistently. It's like, well, my family comes first. When they tell you that, it's almost like they're insinuating that your family doesn't.
Oh my gosh, Jan, I cannot agree with you more. It just sets me off. When I would go to parties and I'd be trying to recruit and somebody say, well, I don't let just anyone watch my kids. I'm like, yeah, because the hobo on the street's watching my kids right now. I'm like, come on, people. I was like, I found it so insulting. And I do put my family first. And sometimes that means I go make the money.
Mm.
Sometimes that's the choice.
Yeah.
Well, in my case, that was the reason why I came back to Tupperware. I had been with Tupperware in 2012 to get my family out of being homeless. And once we were finally, stable enough for me to go back to school, I decided I wanted to be a teacher and went back to school. And I was working full time and going to school full time, but I had 5 super crazy busy teenage boys, and they were involved in anything that cost money. And so when my health tanked and I found out that I had cancer and knew that I was never going to be able to do a 9-to-5 job, stand up there and be a teacher for 8 hours, that wasn't going to happen. I knew that I could come back to this. And while I haven't been like an uber success, my success was that I could pay for band camp, that I could pay for new football cleats, that I could pay for, competition fees. I could pay for, all the different things that made me the fun parent. My husband paid for the bills. I paid for the fun stuff. That I was able to help send my youngest son to Europe on a choir trip. All that happened because I was with Tupperware. It would not have happened if I was working anywhere else, or if I was still going to school, which I actually would have still been in school during all those things. So there would have been no way, in curing a crazy amount of debt too, on top of that, going to school. So I'm in this business so that I can be part of my kids' lives, so I don't know.
So true. Thank you for sharing that. Down on the bottom of page 2, they kind of talk about the networking opportunity versus, many of us have maybe dreamt of starting your own business, right? And then you start looking into it. And of course, there's long hours, you're high stress, adding in inventory, all that other stuff. So that's what I love about our opportunity, right? There's little investment going in. I didn't go in with the intention of selling Tupperware. I just had wanted modular mates, and then kind of was just like, whatever, I'll give it a go. Worst case scenario, I fill my house full with a lot of Tupperware, right, at a discount. So there was no risk involved, right? Because it was our kits are a great value, right? So then at the bottom here too, they kind of talk about, you know, how we form a partnership with our corporation that provides us with the product or service along with the administration and marketing support, right? So we don't have to worry about that stuff. They do things like the advertising and such for us so that we can focus on partying, right? Or growing our teams, sharing the opportunity. So we get to do the fun stuff. And that's what I love about how network marketing works, right? And we know our income comes from selling products, services, from partying, from getting out there, from having fun, from sponsoring new team members. So those are the fun stuff that we get to do. And it's attractive because, as I said, it costs little to nothing to start up, no capital investment. So it felt safe for me, right? And there is no ceiling on what we can earn or the rewards, right? My sister had just posted a really cool picture this morning about the perks of Tupperware, how somebody had earned, you know, all the extra stuff that our consultants and team members can right now. So that's super exciting to somebody just starting out. And I love, in the sidelines I'd written, love our different kit options, right? So who's super excited about all the kit changes, the new catalog? We have so much to be excited about as we go into the holiday season.
I just like having choices, period.
I know, right? And I love the change too. Yeah, I like
because again, we're all different. So, you know, what's going to make my boat float may not make yours float. So choices are the answer.
So if you got to choose, which kit would you choose right now?
I would still choose the business kit.
Yeah, me too. It's a good one.
I just am so in love with Clearly Elegant that just kind of pulls me.
There we
I've
go.
just, since we moved, I've just started using it in my house. I mean, I always had it to show, but I've never actually used it in my house. And when we moved to this house, that's the bowl set that I put in my kitchen. I'm like, I love it. I love it.
I want to be in your
Just saying.
There we go. Well, that's exactly what we got to do. We got to find out what excites our customers. Or
What kit would you pick?
I would pick the big one too. I'm an Ultra Pro girl. So I love
Oh, that's right. You guys bake a lot.
Yeah, and I cook a lot. I got 4 kids to feed. Well,
how about anybody else?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
I know, right? And that's what, Ellen, what would you choose?
The business kit, hands down. It's just the value of it. You know, you look at that and you're just like, holy smokes. I mean, the value of it. And that's stuff I would use in my kitchen if my business didn't work out. Like, you know what I mean? Wow. Like when I started, the kit was not awesome. I mean, I was just like, but I was starting for a business, not products. So, but yeah, the business kit's awesome right now. Yeah, I love it.
It is really, really.
I love the business kit because you have everything in it that you need to run up. I mean, like when I first started, I had to invest in a spoon. I had to invest, you know, all these other things to help with my party. Now they get everything they need, like everything you need. You have a spatula, you have a spoon, you have a knife. Like,
yeah.
We
were so broke I couldn't afford to like invest in my business. And so when I did my like launch party, I literally, when it came time to like get my 3.5 price, I slid the catalog over to Pam and I was like, tell me what I need to buy to grow my business. And she's like, you need a set of module mates, you need a set of French starch, you need a set of this. I was like, okay. And that all went into my business. And that was the way for probably the first 2 years. I was like, I can buy Tupperware later when I have plenty of money, but right now I need the money. Like I was like, so everything I earned went right back into the business.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and it is so exciting that, these kits are set up for them to get off to a great start. Love it. Now where was I? Alrighty. Lindsay, what kit would you choose? She loves it.
Same thing as all of those things. Now, I would argue that we all can choose the kits right now as well. So I would choose both of them, and I have. So the reason that I say that is I think it's really important to recognize right now, this is kind of a beef with me that Tupperware allowed this to happen. So there's going to be 2 ways to feel about this. We're waiting on the coupons that our new consultants can get the new kit, which is great. However, I'm not recommending anybody do that. Right? So if you're willing to buy the Holiday Hustle kit for $40, then you're probably willing to buy it for $80. Now, I would argue that buying it for $80 and getting yourself a recruit is a really good idea, and it's worth that extra $40. So I have purchased both of them because I need them both for display. And the way you do that is by phoning your best customer or someone random from a trade show and saying, I'm a business owner that needs a display kit. So I would love for you to have the discount and the opportunity to share your own Tupperware sales. I need the kit though, so I'm going to go ahead and buy that kit, and I'm going to go ahead and keep that kit, and you're going to go ahead and start running your business. We have so many people that want to run online businesses now that they don't need a physical kit necessarily. So every person that has said no to you in the past is an opportunity to be on your team in a different way. And so if you're asking me which kit I would pick, I say I already did that twice with both of them.
Food for thought, right? Oh, you're so cute.
That's a good thing. That is.
Yes, lots of ways to look at it and think about it for sure.
I just don't think that deep. So thank you so much.
It's fun to be a part of her brain.
Oh, absolutely.
Lindsay's a very deep thinker. In a little body.
Yes, Lindsay's shorter than me. I don't get to say that very often, that people are short.
Little package.
There we go. Little swirling, but that's all right, right? Okay, I'd asked her that because I originally had lost my place. Now I'm totally screwed. All righty. So
you were on page 3.
Yeah, I know I got highlighted so much stuff. Oh goodness. I think I'm still on summer brain, not fall brain. Alrighty, so it talks about what we've been talking about. They run their businesses from home, work it around our everyday life. Some are supplementing the household income by working part-time, right, while their spouses are out, or both of them continue in traditional employment. So that's what I like, right? We choose what we want to do. If we want to work part-time, full-time, if we want to work outside the home, and outside the home and do Tupperware too. So there's lots of different options, and for some families this is their sole income, right? So in the beginning I worked part-time because my kids were a lot littler. Now everybody's in school or in trade school, so I'm working a lot more full-time, so that's really cool, but I still get to set my hours. Love that part. Oh, and then I love this part, right? No way works better than any others, right? What works for me won't work for Jan, but no way is better, or they're all different and they're all great. The point of network marketing is to provide freedom and flexibility to fit your personal ambitions and circumstances. What counts is that you get to decide what's best for your life. So I often talk about Lindsay and share her story, right? She's moved across Canada and started and has moved somewhere totally different, right? And because of Tupperware, she was able to do that and growing her business differently and in different areas. So it's really, really cool that we do have that opportunity. Now, I like this too on the bottom of page 3. It talks about I love this part. Network marketing is one of the few businesses where you can earn as you learn right from the start. I love that because we can all learn at our own pace. In the beginning, I kind of thought I needed to know everything right away, but that's not the truth. And I think that held me back a little bit, right? Because I was one of those personalities that thought, I can't share the opportunity because I don't know anything about this business yet. So, but that's so far from the truth, right? We all have ample support, within our teams, in our uplines. We have great resources to keep learning as we're earning. So that's super, super special.
I like that part too.
Yes, you highlighted it. I
Huge.
did. Yes.
Like, yeah.
Bold.
I'm going to actually just copy that, and I'm going to make like a little sign with it because I just think it's so great.
Yes, it was a really, really, really good. Stick it on your bathroom mirror somewhere. That's where I
a
like
little passion there.
Yes, there was a little passion there. And sometimes we're going to find ourselves faltering, right? So at the bottom, it kind of just, as Ellen had said earlier, remember to be grateful. Or so when you're faltering, think of the millions who go through university, are fighting to climb the ranks of higher income earners, right? Or think of the millions who invested their own capital in a business and are working crazy hours. And are working to fight to make it against the odds. Think of those that are stuck in traffic all day long. That's not a problem here.
Nor here, yeah.
Not even a little bit of a problem.
We owe it to women. We owe it to people to help them get out of that rush hour traffic. That's a nightmare.
Well, we were just in
No one should have to do that.
We were in Edmonton this summer, and I was just like, whew, that's a little bit different. We've got more lanes than we have streets. But yes, but it's a reminder, because I can reach out to team members all across Canada, and I do have team members near Edmonton. So it is a reminder that these people are stuck in traffic. Yikes. Think of those that are missing pivotal events in their children's lives, right? So who can you reach out that talks about, I missed this. Oh, I got somebody knocking on my door. Oh well. For those that are talking about missing the pageant or thing, those are people that share the opportunity with. They may be interested in not missing those moments anymore. Who do you know that talks about, I hate my job, or I hate going to work, or it's boring? Think of those people, right? Because we can, Tupperware is fun. Tupperware is a lot of fun, and we have so many ways to get out there and have fun. So it's not boring. Think of how lucky you are. Oh, this is the low risk, high reward business, right? So those are all things to remind yourself when you or maybe questioning things, how things are going, or those are also ways to reach out to different people and share the opportunity with, right? Anybody else have anything to add at that part that they thought of? Pigeon or crickets?
Pigeon.
It was good, right? Those are all just different ways we can definitely reach out with people. Okay, this is something that I really starred and highlighted. Oh no, Lindsay's still there. If you're prepared to move out of your comfort zone and commit to making it work, whatever your current situation is, there's the potential for fabulous income and a dream lifestyle, right? What is the saying you always say, Lindsay? The edge of your comfort zone.
Life begins at the edge of your comfort zone.
I love that.
So true.
Percent every single day. You got to get there.
Yes. And I know.
What does Will Smith say? Success is on the other side of fear. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is something out of your comfort zone? Does anybody want to share? Something that these things I just said to I dislike people.
I hate doing Facebook Live. I hate it.
Do you?
I hate it.
Oh.
You never know. You're so great at it.
I hate
You have
it.
such a great personality that it comes across on your Facebook Live.
Oh, I hate it.
You look like you're having so much fun.
I hate it.
Well, I'm glad you can see it that way, because it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to do this again.
So
Well,
Jan,
that's the thing. Everybody's comfort zone is somewhere different than somebody else's, right? And I think the key for us as leaders is to understand and recognize that we all have comfort zones different from somebody else. And that's all we got to do is just help people edge to that comfort zone and support them in feeling uncomfortable in that spot.
Well, and I think, go ahead.
Sorry, I have the same problem, Jan. The picking up the phone and calling and going Facebook Live are my two, and people message me after I go live every time. They're like, that was great. I'm like, it's my anxiety. My anxiety goes through the roof. And so I'm just smiling and like, because I don't know what else to do. I get compliments from my team on the regular of like, you're just so smiley. You make me so motivated. I'm like, that's just my anxiety washing over me, and I don't know what else to do. So like, have at her, girlfriend.
Well, I've come to an area where they're not real familiar with doing much with Facebook. So I have to teach them. And we know how powerful going live is, even though I hate it. And so I've actually made a public page for our company that I'm doing most of the cooking kind of videos on. And again, I'm just an everyday person. I mean, I still drop stuff and knock stuff over, and I'm just Jan, you know. But by doing it on a public page, they can actually share it on their timelines until they get more comfortable with doing it themselves. So I can only pray that happens sooner versus later.
Well,
You know, Pam, you know what that giddiness is? When you have super high anxiety, you start losing oxygen to your head, and that's you about to pass out is what that is.
Brain, Connie, brain. Oxygen to your brain. You're telling Pam.
Breathe.
She's getting super giddy. Oh, breathe, Pam, breathe.
Okay, if you go on my lives and start commenting breathe the next time I'm on there, I might actually pass out.
we all have to do that now. Oh gosh. Oh, too funny.
Yeah.
Before I lose this thought, back to the being leaders and helping out of the comfort zone. But I think also the important thing with being a leader and helping our team members step out of their comfort zone is realizing how much to either gently nudge them out of their comfort zone, or whether that person needs, some people can handle a swift kick to the butt, right? But I'm speaking about myself probably a little bit with Lindsay. Had she pushed me hard, I probably would have turned, turtled, and gone away, right? So as leaders too, we have to kind of adapt to everybody individually as well too. So thankfully she didn't push me too hard, just gently, because who knows where I would have ended up. Alrighty, down at the bottom of page 4, we're going to talk quickly about some 3 basic principles of network marketing. Number 1, there are no shortcuts, right? Once again, we're talking about if you want to succeed, you must be prepared to work hard.
Amen.
Yes, that was all I highlighted in that. Work hard, work smart. And yeah, works with starting on skills and work. That's what I tell my kids all the time. Number 2, there are no excuses. So what did we, yes, I wrote it down. Make your family the reason, not the excuse. If something isn't working, you have to be prepared to change it, right? So just as Jan said, she's doing things a little bit differently with her public page and stuff. If it means changing you, perhaps your attitude, the way you present yourself, the way you communicate, your understanding of how the business works, right? So sometimes you just have to look around, right? And that's what I do sometimes. If I'm having a down day or something, I'd reach out to Lindsay or to one of my directors in my downline too, and usually ask for an idea or a brainstorming session too. So there's lots of ways to kind of work through that, right? Or deciding on what needs to change. This part as well too, number 3, there are no trophies for trying. Network marketing rewards results, right? Did anybody have any thoughts on number 3? Oh, I thought you were talking. Yeah.
No, I thought that was good.
I agree that there's no trophies for trying, and she's right. Although I do think that it's important for us as leaders where Tupperware isn't, and for those of us that are brand new, is you have to find a way to trophy yourself for trying. And we as leaders can find a way to trophy our people for trying, regardless of the results, for what Tupperware isn't. And so in this book, obviously, she needs to speak to generalities, and it's true. There are no trophies for trying in that kind of sense. However, I do think that's a gap that we can fill. I think Tupperware fills it pretty well in general for us, and I think the individuals that do a really great job of continuing and living at the edge of their comfort zone give themselves trophies for trying. And you can decide what that trophy is for you, right? Like that trophy could be like, okay, I get to read a nonsense book for half an hour at the end of my day, or it means that you get to go for a manicure because you you met the goal that you set out in terms of trying to do something, even if it didn't result in the efforts. Because I think it's important that people, especially in this day and age, kind of have that instant gratification that we're all looking for, and that tends to be something that happens more and more now. And so when we don't find success in that moment, we quit really easy, right? And so we need to be able to give ourselves that personal trophy for trying, because sometimes the work that we do now doesn't result in the success until tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And
and
I also think for Tupperware, we do a great job of actually celebrating people's little successes. So that's something, there's in network marketing rule, there's not a trophy for trying. However, I found within the Tupperware business that there is a lot of celebrating the small successes, which actually is a bit of a trophy for trying. And it is what encourages a lot of people to continue on when it maybe isn't quite so easy. So I really like that within our business, whether it's top of the line, or I'm sure you guys are doing the same thing in your businesses, is we do celebrate the small things. So we do actually reward them for trying, even if it is just a Facebook shout out or a private message that says, hey, great job on submitting your first order. I mean, that's something that in all the other businesses I've ever dabbled in for direct sales that I never ever received, that I got from Tupperware. So
There was just a gal on your company page that had written, I was having a really bad day, and then I came home to mail from Cora, and it was where Cora had sent her a certificate for having 3 personal recruits, and like how that can turn somebody around. And there's nothing that replaces that feeling that they get when they open that envelope and see that.
Mhm.
And that's where we have so much opportunity to really impact the lives of others and reward people or compliment. Even just a little compliment makes such a huge difference compared to the world out there.
Mhm.
I think genuine celebration is different than a participation ribbon. I think, when you are genuinely investing in somebody else's success, it shows. And that's what we have to do with our downline and our groups, is that you have to encourage them to build a positive habit. And once that positive habit is in place, then the bigger successes come. And sometimes it's harder to see that, that's the long game. But, that's where you really want, that's where you're going to find what from the last book, your runners, that if we can encourage them through the celebration, through the positive steps of building a habit, then they will get to that success that they're looking for. But just those little successes are still success, though.
Oh, exactly. Even just a simple, I see you working hard. I see you doing this, right? It goes I'm proud of you. Like those little, when I'm mailing out my team rewards and stuff from our monthly meetings, I always do just a quick little handwritten blurb. Just something it always feels good to see something in the mail. They're gifts from me. So I know it goes a long way. Down at the bottom, we'll quickly wrap up here to move on to chapter 1. Knowledge is a powerful asset. Knowledge translated into action is the winning formula. That's another little line that I liked, getting it put into action, right? Every step you are about to take, many of us have taken along before them and are now enjoying the rewards, right? That they worked hard for. Rewards are waiting for you. So we, in our top of the line company, we know that we have tons of opportunity, and our consultants get so excited to earn all sorts of different rewards. So I love that. Down at the bottom too, I highlighted, if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to work, you will create the life you and your family deserve and become a role model for others who dare to dream big dreams. So I liked that part as well too. Alrighty, let's move on to page 6 and step 1, dare to dream. So I liked the title. Tupperware has brought dreaming back into my life, so that's kind of cool. And right away at the beginning, it says, imagine you have been granted 3 wishes, and what will you wish for, right? So we all have different dreams, and working hard starts with a dream, with a desire to want something. So it's a good reminder to always kind of think about what you're working for or what you're dreaming about. I highlighted here too, the only limit to what we can achieve in life is the limit of your imagination, right? That was really, really, really good. Every achiever started with a dream. So, and then she goes to talk about some of the first settlers and stuff. So, I often challenge my team to dare to dream, right? What would be some of your dreams or your desires? So that's something important to always touch base with your team as well too. Life is not about following a path that others set for us, right? It's about blazing new trails to create the life we choose. Did you like that, Jen?
Yes, a lot. Like, yes. Like, to this day, I think my parents still wonder why I don't get a real job. It's just, they just don't get it. And I have to let go of that.
Wow. Hey.
My mom still has her potato chips rolled down with a wooden clothespin in the freezer. I cannot even taste them there. I can't. Ugh.
Some things are hard to give up, I guess. Hey.
Jan, you're not giving me a lot of hope because my mom totally doesn't understand the business at all.
Well, you know what?
But then she thinks somehow, some way, we're all going to run out of parties and Tupperware's going to be out of business. And I'm like, it hasn't happened yet, Mom.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years.
Oy.
And we've traveled the world, and my kids have gone all kinds of places, way more than when I was a kid. I grew up in Indiana. We went to Michigan and Ohio and Chicago. That was it. And, the life that we were able to give our kids versus the life I had, I mean, it's just night and day, and they just do not get it.
That's interesting.
But, when somebody says, well, what if somebody says they don't really have the support of their family and friends? I'm like, I'm proof. That whole feel, felt, found. You can always use me. I understand how you feel. Others have felt that way. But, let me give you an example of one that found out if she just pursued her dream, da, 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 da. So you can always use that.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
They've never held a party. They've never passed a catalog. They've never let me recruit them. Nothing.
So you didn't get to recruit your mom then?
Nothing. Nope.
Well,
so just an example. It's just an example for others to be able to see that it really is all up to you.
Yeah, you're your biggest supporter, right? Yeah, for sure. That I will use that as an example. Dreaming frees us from our doubts, our skepticisms, our prejudice, our past experiences, and expectations of others to reveal the truth of what we want in life. Our capacity to achieve has no limit if we dare to dream big dreams. So that was really, really good as well too. The questions, the 6 simple questions are something that would be really great for all of us to, kind of reevaluate, to think about, just to keep you focused and on path, right? As she says, when you know the answers to these questions, you gain awesome power over your future, right? When you know what matters most to you, you will move mountains to make it happen, right? So dreaming and knowing your goals, knowing your visions for your family or for your plan is what you need to do. I was reading my side notes. I really liked this too, and it was something that was kind of I'll share a little bit more here as I read. Think how we respond to events that touch our hearts, right? So the goals or dreams that we have that come from the heart are something really, really cool. But it's all events or things that outside of your world as well too can really become impactful and into your own lives. And why I'm saying that is I remember this was 1 house back. We've moved 3 times in this little small community as our family has grown. And something that really had touched my heart, I can't remember, my kids would have all been little, but there had been a telethon, radio telethon for our children's hospital in Saskatoon they were working at building, and I was just hearing the stories of, you know, the sick children and how sick they were, and I just felt so I don't even want to cry. Felt so privileged to be at home with my kids. And the second that Andrew got home, they were wanting people to make like monthly donations, right? So when Andrew, my husband, got home, we instantly signed up to make the monthly payments, and have been doing so because we've been in this house, we've been doing it probably for about 12 or 15 years. Well, the hospital is set to open, so it was just such a big celebration that after all these years, the hospital finally came to fruition, and I'm still at home getting to do and be with my children every day. So it was just what was in my heart that day is still there, right? And I'm working at, you know, keeping it that way too. My kids are spread out in huge age differences. Our oldest is 20 and our baby is 7. So I'm gonna have kids at home forever. And then I'll probably have grandkids by the time Aaliyah leaves home. But I hope and I know that I'll continue to work with Tupperware and not get to miss a moment, right? Because, and the Children's Hospital, that story really touched my heart and kind of got this dream rolling and going. So think back to those things that have touched your world to keep you motivated at different times too. So, okay, enough of that. But yes, and then again, at the bottom, it talks about self-doubt and uncertainty that will get in place to squash those dreams. This summer was also a challenging summer for our family as well too. So there has been moments of doubt, but that's why you have friends like all of you and that's what you need to hold on to. Okay, somebody want to chat? But yes, and that's the beauty of our Tupperware business, right? Is that we do have these relationships. So many of you on here have helped me through this summer as well too. So, what club is supposed to be about books, not tears?
You know, we all have that though. I mean, I remember that we used to do regional meetings, and we would go to these regional meetings like a couple times a year, and all the directors would get together, and it was great because we got to know other directors in our region. And I remember sitting there, and I was put in this little group with one of the top directors in our region at the time, and she had the same problems that I had. And I was like, wow, she's number one, and she's got the same problems I have. Her team doesn't necessarily call her back. They're down right now, or they're in a recruiting slump, you know, and things like that. And it's so powerful to realize you're not alone, and it is part of the ebb and flow of the business. And sometimes it's not about the numbers of the business, it's about you. It's about the ebb and flow of your why and what your passion is. And sometimes you just kind of lose your sparkle, you lose your shine a little bit, and you have to kind of go inward to pull that back out. And it's absolutely okay, and it happens to all of us. You wouldn't be human if you didn't feel it. No. You know, and people that say, oh, that never happens to me, every day is an A+, they're lying. Don't even believe it, because everybody has those days. So that, you're exactly right. That's why we all are here, to help people when they are struggling with that. So thanks for being honest.
No problem. I do that a little too often.
I love that you said that, Ellen, because like my grandmother always says, you know, do not compare your reality to somebody else's highlight reel, because people are showing you their best face. They're not showing you what they looked like when they got up. So I don't know about you, but it's not pretty. So
it's not pretty.
Be on Facebook.
I mean, you're basically looking at that right now. So I am showing you that. So there are some people.
I don't know if you guys noticed it. Jan, stand up and show everybody your shirt.
There you go. I love it.
That's a good one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just like Lindsay. You're seeing me. I got out of bed and I put clothes on over my pajamas to go walk the dog. See, the jammies are still on. And I haven't gotten in the shower yet because I didn't want to be late.
Let me tell you, at 10 minutes till, I looked up, I was like, oh crap, I'm still in my pajamas. So next time you might just get me in the pajamas.
Oh my gosh, you guys are cracking me up. I heard something that said that comparison was the killer of dreams or something like that. I heard
Yeah, Kirsten Jones says that all the time.
yeah, but it's so true. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'm working with one of my top leaders and I'm like, if you don't stop comparing yourself to this person, it's going to be the end of your business, because they're so hurt. There's hurt and hate there sometimes. You know, there's that jealousy, and it's like, stop, you are running your own race. And it's so hard, and it's a struggle we all have. I can sit there and lecture her on it. However, I'm jealous of the mom at school carrying a Louis Vuitton bag or whatever it is, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, it happens to all of us. It rears its ugly head every now and again. It's important to recognize it, forgive yourself, and move on, you know?
So, and I think there's a difference between comparing ourselves with each other, like that part of, you know, killing the dream. But then at the same time, I could still hear Eleanor Gangler in my head saying that dare to compare with your products, though. So comparison of personalities and individuals can be the killer of dreams, but comparison with our products can help us grow, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of read, Kirsten says that all the time, and I kind of just had to think through that, because I've had in my head so much more the comparison of the product, like the 5 ceramic pieces that make a serving center compared to our one piece that is good for a lifetime. If you drop one piece to that ceramic one and the whole set's ruined.
Right.
Well, then you have
tangent.
some friendly competition is different than comparing yourself to somebody who you maybe see as somewhat of an equal, that they're outperforming you, and like, how are they doing it? And that is where I want to be. So, I mean, I have used that sometimes where I can understand where comparison and criticism can definitely squash dreams. But on the same front, if it's friendly competition to keep yourself motivated and moving.
Absolutely.
Yes, using
Totally
it.
agree with you, Pam. I was thinking,
that one.
yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. I love a good comparison. I'm all about it, but I have learned how to check my ego at the door to be able to say, okay, why, you know, if something uncomfortable comes up, why do I feel uncomfortable? Because I promise you, it has nothing to do with the other person. It has to do with your mindset, right? So, you know, if you're feeling that, yeah, if you're feeling that, you've got an ego problem. So that's a you problem.
Right.
And not a they problem. And so when you turn it around and check that ego at the door and you say, what makes me feel uncomfortable about this? Recognize what it is and then use it as fuel, right? Because that friendly competition is only going to say exactly as Pam said, what are they doing that I'm not? Like, what have they connected to that I'm not? How can I learn from them to be where they want to be?
Yeah, you're exactly right, Lindsay. You're exactly right.
Another thing about comparison that you've got to keep in mind too is that you can end up putting someone on a pedestal and not being able to have a friendly conversation with that person and possibly learning from them. I've had that happen. I've done that myself and put people on pedestals and then all of a sudden realize that, you know, and saying that I can't ever match up to that person and do what that person is doing. But then when you finally get to speak with that person, you finally realize that, you know, they are human too.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you for sharing, Mark. Now I lost my thought.
Well, we're all different people. If we were all the same, the world would be boring. If we're all different, then obviously comparing me to you or you to her, if we're all different, we're all going to have different outcomes. We're all going to have different issues. We're all going to have different, you know, successes. And if you can't compare apples to oranges, you can't compare oranges to bananas. We're all different. So trying to say, well, you know, like, for instance, I came into the business the same time Cora did. Like almost the exact same time. And I'm not about to compare myself to Cora because then I'm like, that's it. I'm going back to bed. Okay.
Shouldn't have gotten out of those cannons.
So, you know, you need to not compare, just learn from. Like, okay, you know, hey, what did she do? Have that friendly conversation. teach me, oh wise one, you know? Because comparing makes you ungrateful for the blessings that are in your life to begin with, is what happens. Is really, you're so busy looking at what everybody else has and is doing that you forget to look at what's going on in your life that's good and positive and being thankful for that.
Well,
So
that's why
competing is a different thing. Like, I've got some great people. Me and Eva compete all the time, and I love it. But comparative is totally different.
And that's why I think it's important to hold on to our individual dreams, and know our whys, right? All of those things help motivate or project us into doing. But yeah, it's easy to get caught up into life and other things as well.
Yeah. So so Lisa and Jen, both of your comments, I think, so I disagree with you completely, Lisa. There are differences certainly in areas and where customers are, et cetera, but every human is the same. And what's kind of powerful and also disappointing about us all not being that unique is that we're all the same. We all have those days that are bad. I promise you, Cora is not a superhero. There is nothing different about Cora than there is from me, than there is from Tracy, than there is from you. I promise you. I know her well. I promise you. She's not. She's not a superhero. She's just a regular mom. And you could have Cora's paycheck, Jen. You absolutely can. 100%. There is nothing stopping any of us from having those opportunities. It doesn't happen today. It doesn't happen tomorrow. But what it does happen is being consistent every single day and doing something for your business every single day. If you had asked me, so last month my paycheck was $16,000. So, yay, I know, it was crazy. So, but if you had asked me even a year ago if I would be having a $16,000 paycheck, in August of 2019, I would have been like, I think it's going to take longer than that. Okay. So, but it takes, and if you had asked me 7 years ago if I would be doing that, so there are lots of people that have made $16,000 paychecks even in our top of the line business before I did in their amount of business. But failure is impossible if you do not quit, period. And every time an excuse comes out of your mouth, you need to have this, like, you don't need to do anything. You can do what you want to do. But what I do is every time I feel an excuse come into my brain, I say to myself, excuses are results, not both. And excuses come in these little mindset things that make us not be able to build our dream. So they happen in, it's different for that person than it is for me. I promise you it's not.
No, what I was saying was not that it was different for her.
I know that, Yanni. I know that's not what you were saying. I'm commenting on our comments that Lisa.
I don't think Lisa was saying that either. I think that she was partly saying that that Cora's, like any other rep's, reality is different than anybody other person's reality. Yes, we all have the same opportunity, but by comparing your outcomes, you also have to look at what was put in. So, for instance, like, I'm going to own it. I do not work nearly as hard as Cora does. Nearly. And never work as hard as she does. And never put into it what she did. And so she is showing the fruits of her labor. And I show the fruits of my labor as well. And I'm going to totally own that.
But I think the important distinction for me, I totally agree with you, Colleen. The important distinction for me is that recognizing that. And you do recognize that. That's awesome. And it's so important. But I think the moment that you really change how your business is going to grow is the moment that you recognize that you're taking ownership for exactly what you said, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Lindsay, I
have to take responsibility for my own success, and I say that to everybody that's with me too. I'm like, it can't just be me doing it for you and with you. It's got to be me. It can't be Stephanie doing it for me and with me. It's got to be me. So what am I willing to do, and what am I willing to work to get what I want? And is what I want really worth what I'm willing to do? And I think that's where we got to find that balance. What are you willing to do? Because it's not what you want to do. It's what are you willing to do? Because what I want to do is go back to bed. But I also want XYZ. I want my dreams. So what am I willing to do? I'm willing to get off of this, Zoom and hop on the phone, even though the phone is my nemesis. Let me tell you, Pam, I'm right there with you. I don't like calling people. End of story. I don't like it. I'll get on live with you all day, Jan. I'm not getting on the phone with Pam. Okay? So I just don't like it. Am I willing to do it? Yes, because I want my dream. So,
Lindsay,
yeah.
would you just repeat, failure is impossible?
Failure is impossible if you don't quit.
If you don't quit. Okay.
The only way you can fail is if you quit.
Okay. Thank you.
That was good discussion.
Boring. See, that it feels like those are when my pet peeves come out. It gets passionate. It gets passionate.
I love it though. I love it.
We love it. We can tell when you're passionate. So basically, I think that discussion wrapped it up in a nutshell, right? The one thing that I'm going to read here right now is this is not the time to hold back. Set your imagination free and let it soar. So one thing that I love to do is a vision board, and have done many throughout the years too. So that's something that keeps me motivated and on track. I'm going to read those in a second. Now, what I love about this book that we've chosen for book club is the worksheet part of it. I'm going to share mine. Mine's blank though. Did anybody do page 9? I meant to go back to it last night, but I didn't with the kids. The kids were busy last night. Does anybody want to share one of their dreams maybe before we wrap up while I read the chats? No, nobody wants to share that. Okay, go ahead, Connie.
Any of y'all follow me on Facebook?
I do.
Did you see my live about the funness that I'm having with my landlord and the leak in my office?
Oh, yes.
I want to own my own home. End of story. I'm done paying somebody else's mortgage. I'm done dealing with landlords who don't fix what they're supposed to do, just patch it to pass. I'm done with landlords saying that they, at 6 o'clock at night, we're going to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm done with it. I want to own my own home. I want to have a family home that when I'm not here, my kids can fight over it. I want a place that my grandkids can come and say, this is grandma's house, and I want my own home. I'm just, that's the end of it. I'm done.
Do it, Connie. Tupperware helped me
And
build a house, and
Tupperware's going to do it.
Yes, you can
Done.
do it.
So,
You just gave me.
it's on my board, and it's always been on my board, but it wasn't until this whole thing. I can't tell you what's been going. Well, I will tell you. For 3.5 years, when you guys see me, there has been a bucket on top of my desk where literally raw sewage has been leaking through the ceiling into, and that I have to dump every couple of days. And then it finally started leaking through my light fixture and leaking into the walls. 2.5 years that he would patch it so that he could pass inspection, and then it would leak some more and pass it. I'm done. I want my own home. So
Love
Yep.
it. Love it. Before we wrap, does anybody else want to share their dream?
This is gonna, this sounds maybe different compared to, I think one of my dreams is exactly why we're doing book club, and that's to help, hopefully, even though I come off so, what's the word, Ellen, that you might...
Confident.
Oh, you would use confident, Jen? Okay, that's interesting.
Well,
You're straightforward.
Okay, yeah. So
straightforward. That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your doctor
So although I'm very straightforward, I agree with you totally. Working hard doesn't mean you're not doing it. And I think it's really important, but one of my dreams now that I'm at the position that I am, because this wouldn't necessarily have been that while I was struggling through all the rest of it. Is what we're doing here on Book Club is to help other people recognize in their own right that they can also do it. So Lisa, what you're saying, I think you're here and that's huge, right? Like showing up for your own life is really, really important. And when you work hard, I promise you it is happening. So when you say when you work hard and it still doesn't happen, it's not because you're not working hard, but you just need to figure out the different way to work. And that's what you're here doing, right? You got to show up. Exactly. So you got to show up. And sometimes we get busy doing things that are busy work, not things that are actually things to help us grow our business. And so getting involved in things like book club and webinars will help you have the light bulb moments for what you need to sit down and realize you need to change in the way you're working in order to make it happen, right? We all, I promise you, every single one of us has exterior factors. We do. They're different from each other's, but they're all there and present. We also all have 24 hours in a day. You, me, and Beyonce. Every single person has 24 hours in a day. And I promise you, Beyonce doesn't look like this right now.
I was about to say, I'm like, I could have Beyonce's body? I'm like,
You could.
whoa.
So, right, so you, me, and Beyonce, we all got 24 hours a day. It's up to us what we do with those 24 hours, right? Yes, Jan, I love when you talk about income producing activities versus busy stuff, because it's very, very, very easy for us to think we're working hard when all we're doing is like running around doing nothing.
So I had something to say about this because my daughter plays tennis and she's super duper into it. A couple years ago, we started at a tennis club. It's super expensive. And so the first summer that she had the summer, you know, they're like, we have clinics 5 days a week and you can do match play and da, da, da. And I'm sitting there in this informational meeting, just like seeing the dollar signs. I'm like, crap. I'm like, I can't do all this, right? And so I'm like sitting there and I'm like, you know what, maybe we'll do 1 clinic, 2 clinics and maybe a match play every other week, right? And I'm thinking this in my head. And so then the coach comes over to me and she says, do you have any questions? I said, well, yeah, well, not really, but this is what I was thinking. And she looked at me and she says, well, you really have to match your practice, your clinics, with your match play, because otherwise you're going to become a professional practicer, right? And it's the same thing. Like, you can participate in book club, you can participate in all these things, but if you do not put in something, anything into action in the next 24 hours, you're becoming a professional learner. You know, you're a student. That's what you're doing. And there are some people out there that they're just professional students. They never go get a job. They just keep getting more degrees. You know, what does that get them? Debt. You know, and so it's the same thing with us with our teams too. You know, they come to rally and they're like, I come to rally and I do this and I do that. I'm doing everything you're saying. And I'm like, but are you really? You know, look at, and she said, I tried to go back and find it in my highlights, but she even kind of addressed this, just kind of like, look at what people are doing, change something about yourself, change something about the way you're approaching things. But so the coach says this to me and I felt like an idiot, because I'm like, oh my God, like she totally just told me what I tell people every freaking day. And I was just like, and she goes, do you understand what I'm saying? And I'm like, I understand more than you realize. Yes, I get it. Okay, clinic 5 days a week, match play 4 days a week. I was just like, to take my money. I'm like, I don't know what to do. You know, so, but I mean, it was just, you know, it was such a huge moment. Like, I was just like, duh, why did I think that this wouldn't apply in other areas too? And this is what I'm constantly drilling into people. Like, you can come to meetings all you want. If you do not take action, if you don't try to do these things, nothing's going to happen. So yeah, huge.
Wow, that's a really good scenario.
Yeah. I don't know what other book it was that I read, or maybe I read it on my own, but I remember reading, you can get all the knowledge you want, but if you're getting knowledge without action, it's just trivial information.
So
it's just
true.
trivial.
Yeah, great. You'll phone a friend when there's a direct sales question. Woohoo! You're their answer. You're their answer person. You know, like, got to do something.
All righty. Does anybody else have anything else to add? I think this was a really good book club. Alrighty.
I'm
Oh,
going friend finding.
there you go. Love that.
Let me tell you about what I do, and I'll just let you pick a keychain.
Oh, do you want us to? Oh, that's what. Okay, I thought you were going to tell us.
That's what I'm doing. I'm not taking anything more with me. Well, maybe a business card, but that's my job today.
There we go. Your top tip for the day.
I'm gonna go shower first, though.
Don't forget to, I was gonna say, don't forget to take off your pajamas, Jan. Maybe a little awkward. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know about that because I dropped my son off to school this morning in my pajamas, by the way, and there were like 6 people walking around in their pajamas. I'm like, it must be pajama day.
Maybe. Alrighty, I'm going to stop the recording. So thank you all for joining me today, and I'll see you next week.